Okay. I don't know if anybody besides you is out there, Misty. I tried to see if anybody else was live, and I'm sure I missed somebody. Uh, I'm sorry for that. I thought it was a good time to sneak something in. Oh, hello, welcome everybody. I just wanted to fire off a couple things. It's been a minute since I've been live. Hi, turn the page. How are you? Thank you, thank you. I'm not sure. I hope to eventually just mod a couple of people to just kind of not even to do much, just like if somebody's blatantly disruptive to a conversation. But I don't really want to stop anybody from talking. Just kind of, I don't know. I think most people get it. Like, hi, sweet tea. How are you? So I'm gonna try and keep it as much about myself and not about anyone else. But listen, if anybody wants to come up, that would be great because it's a like a helpful mirror, and you don't even have to talk about yourself. You could just use me. Um, but my confession or what I just want to talk about that I was thinking about is what is it that keeps drawing me to this to the drama? Why do of course I want peace. I want everybody to be happy. I want people to get along. But why do I get that? It, it's almost like I like to drama stresses me out massively, and in my personal life, there's almost no drama. Like dealing with a teenage daughter is dramatic sometimes, but that's a different kind of drama. And when when I look for like when I will bring up my YouTube before I lay down, I'll put an earbud in and I'll look for like a live drama channel. And when I see one's on, I get like this kind of burst of like, oh, awesome. And as I lay down to kind of rest and fall asleep, and I'm listening to that drama or that drama channel, uh, hi, Lindy, how are you? It gives me like a relax, almost, it's so bizarre. And I hate to even admit this, but it almost relaxes me. Let me just highlight comments. I often think same, but drama to me, but I like to study people's drama. But I'm weird. No, I get that. So okay, so the first thing that draws me to it is absolutely the case study of personalities, right? The individual personality, and just kind of piecing together what makes that person do the things they do, or say the things they say. That is 100% the first interest, the first. And even uh, on a bigger scale, from like a sociological perspective, the community is even fun to. Now, I shouldn't say fun, but it's interesting. It's interesting to watch the community interact as as these tribes develop, and to see how they kind of battle on on this platform with what weapons they have. Uh, it's same reason why I'll spend a day off watching documentaries for 8 hours, or like they have these marathons on PBS where they'll show like a 6 hour Roman history documentary. And the fact that I could sit through that, and not only sit through that, but enjoy it and really get into it, is kind of the same part of my brain that's interested in this. But I also find, and this is kind of what happened to me today, not happened, but just something that I thought about. Yeah. Okay. So this is exactly. But you also have drama that feeds the excitement of your brain, not all just some dull world. So I was thinking today about how um, it's almost like a sport, or it hits you with that excitement. Um, and there's even there's a familiarity to it, familiarity, and it so it raises questions for me. I wonder about myself. I wonder about my own childhood. I have a very chaotic childhood. I wonder uh, if there's um, correlation with other viewers. Um, I wonder what percentage or demographic. Hey, Fizz Crank, how are you? Yeah, I haven't done a live in a little while, and this was something I was thinking about. I just wanted to sneak it in there before anybody went live. There's not a lot of people, and this really is like it is the human condition. And if look, I get it. There's probably not a lot of people interested in this end. Uh, for a lot of people, it's just more of like a scratching an itch, right? A lot of people aren't going to ask, well, why does that itch, or why do I do this, or there's a lot of people don't do that, and that's okay. I get that. I'm not saying that makes me better or worse, but as somebody who does do that, I'm Maggie Mags. As somebody who does do that and does kind of ask why, especially with something like this, that's I'm interested in that end, and I'm interested in like I, I was wondering today about oh, of course, Missy. I appreciate you being here. I'm not even sure what community you're from, so which is great. I like not knowing where people are from, so there isn't any like preconceived notions, and we can just talk, right? Or we can just engage here in this. Uh, but I was thinking today about like I had a chaotic childhood, and I wondered how much of that like that sense of familiar, um, like if you grew up around emotional chaos, and your brain reads that as normal, not fun, but familiar. Like, oh yeah, yelling and fighting. This feels like home. I don't know. I'm not even saying that's a bad way of saying it, because it's almost like it's a, we create these neural pathways in our brains that are like highways, right? They're dirt roads that, or paths in the woods. And I just wonder if that's why it feels familiar, and it almost has a sense of feeling good. But like our nervous system has learned to survive in it, and now it seeks it out even through the screen. And that's why, like, it's almost like a before bed. That's why I like it. I'm studying you, Homelander, and I found you to be very, very suspect, much the same way as you find Ernie suspect. I appreciate that. I even if you're kidding, oh, definitely study me. I mean, not study me, but yeah, watch me, keep me on point. If you ever like watch my behavior, if you ever see something that is inconsistent, call me out on it. Especially if you watch me, you deserve an answer if you see me act one way and behave another way, instead of like going into a chat, and that's okay. That's your freedom to go into a chat and bitch about me because you saw me saying one thing and doing another. But I'm not like a rash. I want you to um right, isn't I, I understand YouTube and friendships, but I want you to call out any suspect behavior like that, right? Where I'm being two faced, or uh, because I don't want to be that way. And there might be an explanation that you don't know. And that's why I have an email up too, because if you're ever, want to, but, like I was saying, with that comfort to the drama, that kind of draw, uh, I'm curious when I look at the community. I'm curious, and I look at the chat. And I look at everybody kind of doing what they do in chat. We all kind of, myself included. Again, I didn't want to make this about chat or you guys. Sometimes, especially in the past, I found myself like enticing the drama. Right, like when it gets boring, I start like trying to and even as a chat, we'll try to like push it in a direction so it gets more exciting or more dramatic. And it is human nature, but it's not. It's a little like there's human nature with drama where people watch like TMZ, Entertainment Tonight, whatever these shows are, but there's something. I think there's something different about us down here. Maybe because we can something to declare. I have no declaration. Um, Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, Missy, because I was watching. I don't even watch basketball's not really my sport. I like hockey and football, but I was watching the Knicks game, and there was this shot at the end of the game, and it just the feeling that induced is so similar to the feeling when something happens to like when something happens in the drama community, right? It was so similar. It was kind of that was one of the things that got me. Maggie, if there's this is the other thing. I really hope that I can gain enough of your trust that people will come up on panel and just uh, be comfortable, just to come up on panel and ask questions, and you know, but My feelings change by the second. Well, that's so that I'm gonna get. There's more to that, but Maggie, if there's any question you have for me, please feel free to ask it. I will absolutely answer it as best as I can publicly here. If you want to ask it in an email, my email's up there. It's Homelander thinks at proton.co or something, but it's in my thing if you click on it. But I'd be more than happy. But this, yeah, it's a rush of adrenaline, and there's more that I kind of wrote. I actually wrote some stuff down before this live. That's why I'd like put a time on it so I could just jot some things down, jot some thoughts down. But so yeah, drama triggers dopamine and cortisol, and I have extremely high cortisol levels. Um, but it's yeah, it's this is where the title comes from. It hijacks our brain chemistry, and it's the emotional equivalent of fast food. It's quick, spicy, addictive, and leaves us emotionally bloated. Um, we watch, or I watch one messy video, and suddenly it's 3 hours later, and I'm emotionally invested in these people I've never met in real life. Uh, and then I see the same people in chat, and I'm there's people that I like or don't like in chat. When if we met at any other place, things would be probably completely different. It's just this weird kind of ecosystem where we're all existing. See, this is okay. This is the great thing about chat because I'd written this down as well. So something that the this gives us, like when we watch drama, it gives us. So if you're a if you had some dramatic things happen as a kid, yeah, this is so Maggie Max, I will get to that. That those cortisol levels are really bad. But so like I have, and this is the I'll just get to the meat and potatoes of it here. I have my own personal control issues. I have really bad anxiety. Either I have high cortisol and high anxiety because of genetics, because of childhood trauma, because of both. I don't know, but the how that correlates to this drama stuff and the YouTube drama stuff is that I'm able to engage with, yeah, and I think absolutely, and so I'm able to engage with the drama, and like I only like certain roller coasters because some of them like scare me. But oh, Dodie, how are you? I was gonna mod you, but this chat has been great. So if I understand, there's only 9 people here, but the chat's been excellent. It allows us to play with fire without the threat of getting burned, or there's a little threat, right? We all have to worry about getting doxxed, and we have to, but it's a small enough threat that it makes it exciting, but not. And here's the ultimate point, or the ultimate: we have control, right? We can click this off at any time. That childhood trauma, or even if you didn't, let's say there's people that didn't have that as I'm in fight or flight always have been since I've been a kid. I feel like a steel ball. I am constantly waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's how I've lived since I was maybe 12, 13 years old. And what this gives us is the control Misty. Okay, see, so this is great because I was really, really curious if there was like some. I was very much wondering if this was something we all had in common, and it's always uh, so. First of all, I want you guys to know I really empathize with you because there is nothing worse than I've watched my daughter as I've raised her, and obviously there's bigger fears, but one of my biggest fears was that I would kind of pass that anxiety on to her. And so I've always like paid very close attention to that and always been very concerned about that because as a kid, especially if you grew up in a certain generation, mental health really wasn't, you know, whether you were compulsively washing your hands or you always thought you had some terminal illness, people weren't parents from, boomer parents weren't sending kids to psychiatrists and specialists and getting you the tools that you needed when you needed to get them. So here we are as adults. But like I said, I stopped that adrenaline control after I had a heart attack. Now I usually speak my mind. That's great. I can, and I want to put a pin in that because I want to. Oh, the average teenager in this day and age has the same levels of. I see. I've read that, sweetie. I've read that they actually have like higher uh, levels of anxiety than we did. I read that like 10 years ago. At least, see, this is also. I have to work on myself. I'm a very overprotective mother. Ooh, I still helicopter parent. As a matter of fact, my daughter spoke to my mother recently, and I got a call from my mother asking if I could, extend a little more trust. Not, and it has nothing to do with trust. You guys know that. I lean on my faith. I do that as well. I'm a Christian. Christ is the center of my existence. I don't. Um, we didn't give an F in the '80s. It was just sad. In the or sad. I think you meant sad, but yes, in the '80s we didn't. There was so much like just signs of abuse, and we're that latchkey generation, right? We would just kind of if the kids weren't home, the parents were happy because then they got to do what they want. Um, yeah, the I try to pay really close attention, and I try to the things that I've learned from you know behavioral therapy, cognitive, dialectical. I try to help you know with these things, and holding back is harmful to your health and your soul. Well, Maggie, you know what I do is I'm always prepping for the worst so that I'm not blindsided. So I'm always just bracing for impact. I'm always in a state of bracing for impact, which is like I'm like a rubber band ball, just always ready to just right there, right on the cusp. But how that correlates to the drama is it allows us to watch other people's drama unfold from a safe place where we can turn it off anytime we want. We can disconnect it from anytime we want. And it gives us that that familiarness that we know. And and if anybody can tell me, again, the panel is totally open, and even if you just want to say it in chat, if it's something there's something that, especially when it's right before I'm going to bed, when I find that one of the drama channels are live, it it like makes me happy because I know that is going to relax me so I can fall asleep better. And I'm just questioning myself. Why is that? Is that because it's familiar and chaos is familiar to me? Uh, is it because my own personal life has no? Because I've really done this thing where it is an escape. See, these both of these are true. See, this it was my whole childhood. Whether my parents were fighting or having a party, that was what I was falling asleep to, and it is an escape. And I'm not even see. It's an escape. See, and I appreciate you guys sharing because and I very much appreciate you guys sharing because I am very curious as to how much of this overlays in chat, right? How many, I bet that a lot of us in chat have more in common than we don't. And that's what draws us all here. We express it in different ways, but that's just a thought. But yeah, it's definitely got that safe escapism where we can escape into it and not be, you know, taken by it, not be hurt by it, right? Whereas the drama in our own lives growing up, maybe as children and even young adults, that drama we couldn't escape from, and we had no control. We had zero control, especially when you're a kid and you're dealing with this stuff. You feel like nobody hears you, nobody wants to hear you, so you're not being listened to, and you have no control. And I think the chat gives you a place to be heard. Uh, the drama gives you a place to experience it without the threat of, you know, catching a backhand from one of your parents or whatever abuse that might be. Um, so I think it's an escape, and I think it's familiar. I think it's both. And I don't know. I guess there's worse ways, right? Like one of the things, uh, one of the things I wrote down here is let's not pretend that all drama is bad. Uh, it it gives us intensity, especially if real life feels flat or lonely. Sometimes we chase those spikes to feel alive. The familiar, see this? It's a good statement. Oh no! So I just want to let that sit. I wanted to let that sit because most critical on myself, and it breeds contempt for myself. But it also breeds contempt for others and creators, and I just wanted to let that sit. But there is also this too. By no means, please, Maggie. I don't. Uh, you guys know I don't. I see. No, I agree with you. None of it gives anybody a license to berate and harass other people on YouTube. There is a, because I have to stay honest with myself. There is a certain amount of behavior that does have to be policed, right? Like um, just inappropriate behavior that we want to police. I don't want to name names. I don't want to, but there was the 12 is 12 creator, and there's no place for that here. We don't want. We want to make sure that but we also want to make sure that things don't cross a certain line. Let me just get back up. It really is fascinating. Um, and I I really don't want to see anybody hurt. Yes. See this. Okay, so this was something that I really. I love you guys. I love chat so much. I really do, because there was another thing that I wanted to address. It's so funny that. Oh, Maggie. Okay. Good night. Thank you so much for being here. You've been a massive help in just talking and engaging. Thank you. Have a great night. I hope you sleep well. One of the things that this brings up, right? So we all like to pretend that we don't care. And we all like to pretend that we have these lives outside and we're not invested. This was one of the main catalysts for this live. Was we all like, I see people in chat. Like I have I think that I spend an excessive amount of time in chats and in this area. And there's people that I see that are always here. I mean, I will wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the bathroom and, go on my phone, and there's somebody there. I'm not going to bring up names. I'm not going to point anybody out. And I'm not even attacking those people, because I'm there for the amount of time of free time that I have. I'm here entirely too much. But for us to then turn around and pretend, oh, I don't care. I'm just here because I like to troll, and I'm just here because it makes me laugh. The reality is that we're all caught up in this, and we all have certain feelings invested in it. And if we didn't, we wouldn't be here. And I just find it funny when people are like, when they I'm just trying to be honest with you about myself. I'm not calling anybody out. I do this. I will say, look, I have a life. I have things that are important, and I have things that are going on that are so much more important than anything that's going on here in this YouTube community. And the truth is if that was true, why wouldn't I be doing those things? So I'm not saying both of these things can be true. It could be true that I have me and other people have a fully engaging life, and we are invested in the things that are happening here, possibly even overly invested. But it's just, I thought it was funny how everybody, myself, how I will try to pretend that I'm not invested. And I guess I'll try to pretend I'm cool and aloof, right? Like I don't care about this. Like I'm not invested in this, or, I'm not in the bushes listening, and I don't know. And I thought that was interesting, and that was something I thought about that brought this live about. That brought this live about was that, like, there are people that will just, even more so than me, they really will try to convince everybody that they are so much more. I'm just talking about chatters. I'm not even talking about content creators or anything like that, but people that will chatters that will pretend that they have these, talk about LARPing, right? There'll be chatters that LARP like they have these highly professional, fulfilling, uh, awesome lives. But I will get up at 4 in the morning to use the bathroom and check my phone, and they're still on. And I saw them on at every point where I just check a random chat, I see them. But they're trying to, yeah, you guys see it too. And I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of this either. Like, I'm not trying, but I'm also not pretending that I'm not invested, or that there isn't, overly invested should be the word but there's also some people, and you guys might be some of these, but people that will take breaks, right? They'll get off this stuff. They'll get out of here. They'll take. I've done it. I think everybody should kind of take a break, because it does become draining. But so I had some stuff as to just asking why do we like it? Make sure nobody's backstage or anything. I don't. But asking myself why nobody or why we like it. And a question I actually had. We're down to 5 people, but I was curious what was one of the most ridiculous moments you can think of that, or any moment, it doesn't even have to be a ridiculous moment, but I was, one that, you know what, let me even just skip that is the, but the bigger truth, the hard part is when we don't realize we're stuck in the loop. The part where we don't realize that we're totally, so if it gets too bad, I see myself changing, so I have to stay away from some channels. The Abyss. Yeah, we should, you know what? We just call it the Abyss. That's a good. And I agree, Misty. I really do. I switch between. And I've said this on here. I like modern day debate and like flat Earth debates, because that community also, just like we were talking about, Misty, about like cults as well. Nick, I get into cults and like the Heaven's Gate cult. Sawyer from the Heaven's Gates cult has a channel, and I watch them, and I just I listen, and it's just fascinating to me, and it's just another same thing with the community of flat earthers. Like, how do you convince yourself that the earth is flat? So I'll kind of get the same or a similar thing from those communities when I need a break from this community, or I feel like I'm getting too sucked in. But it's hard. I think a lot of people don't have the ability to realize that they're stuck in the loop, in the the abyss loop, or the drama loop. And a lot of people start thinking that chaos equals connection, or stimulation equals meaning, right? They forget that this is empty and leaves you empty. The hate consumption loop. Yeah, absolutely. But just because something, like, just because it feels like urgent and important, and just because it inflames that emotion, does not make it important. It doesn't make it important. It doesn't mean that it's something that should consume you, or and we're not broken. Like, I'm not broken because I do these things, or because I'm just patterned. Like, we get into patterns, we get into these the loop. We just get caught in this loop, and you just got to realize that and then step out. But it's not that you're broken or your brain is broken. You just got to realize you're on that loop, and you got to step out of that loop for a minute, and I don't know, take some time off. But there are people that I don't. There's a lot of people you'll see step away, take some time off, even if it's just a week. But I guess we have to remember that. But and that's some of the things that helps me shift away from the noise. And I'm not trying to push people out of this community. I'm just saying that sometimes I'll just go to these other communities where I like to. It's a little less intense and a little less personal, but it still gives me that, like, okay, why are these people doing this? What created this scenario where people can believe that the earth is flat? And that's just one of many. Also, UFOs. Geez, you guys name it. But and how you could ask yourself, have you ever taken a break? Right? Like there's people that we won't even, because again, I really just wanted to bring up I didn't want to attack anybody or single out anyone, but we can all use a break from this just to see and the flat earth community as a whole is, sometimes I listen to their discords, and the flat earth discords, like they create this echo chamber, and that happens here, and that's, again, I'm going to repeat this, and I hope if I could just get one of you to watch it, but the social dilemma is really interesting in how communities like this can come up and exist, because it, the algorithm starts to feed your belief, and then you can find these communities in Discord and these other places that then feed that echo chamber more, and then you find yourself stuck in a place where it's all black and white. The shades of gray have all kind of gone away. And I remember, like, this is kind of way out of left field or off topic, but I remember like the 90s, the 2000s, maybe pre 9/11, even a little bit after 9/11, like before the internet really blew up, shades of gray were like, the whole grunge music thing was like a lot of the shade, but now there's just a lot of black and white thinking, right? It's this or that. There's no in that middle ground. And I live for that middle ground. And this was just the things that I had written down to close with was you don't need to unsubscribe from life to get peace, but maybe you can just take a break from chaos entertainment and watch something else that interests you, whether it's a TV series. I was watching. I just watched an episode of Black Mirror, but that's pretty intense too. Something that was fun that I just started watching was Resident Alien, but because it's just I don't know, it's like it's not overly deep. It's not, but it's still a lot of fun. Peace isn't boring. It's just unfamiliar for people like us, right? So we have to make it so peace becomes familiar, or a little more familiar, so we're not so in tune with the chaos. That's it. That's pretty much it. That was just me questioning myself and what draws me to drama. And I have a boring life, so the drama stimulates certain things that aren't all bad, but that loop, it's very easy to get stuck into that loop in the abyss. It's really easy to get stuck into that loop, and then you get stuck into that linear or like bipolar thinking of this or that. Boring is good. Boring is, see, that's something when you got a lot of trauma, or, and I don't even want to use like a dog whistle with trauma, but like when you come from a lot of chaos or a chaotic background, maybe you just had parents that yelled all the time, and that's your normal. It's okay. Like the quiet, that's okay. Like you just gotta get comfortable with that and let that balance out the chaos. So just so you find those moments of peace in your brain. I didn't get to finish discussing it with Mags, but my cortisol is through the roof. I'm probably gonna have a heart attack, and so I gotta find less, more boring things, because boring is good. The idea that boring is bad is really not healthy, especially long term. But that was it. Thank you guys so much for coming up. The chat, you guys were all amazing. Because I can't. It's really hard to self-analyze without others to kind of bounce things off of. And you guys really are awesome at just allowing you can be a mirror for me, and maybe I could be a mirror for you. And if not, you guys can just hear me kind of break myself down. And you have a wonderful day. And I thank you so much for showing up, Nick, and for talking. And yeah, chat, you were great. Thank you so much for just, you know, bouncing things back and forth. It made this even more interesting for me. You guys all have a wonderful day. I'm sure there'll be something more interesting live you can watch, and have a great weekend. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend, guys.